What's up guys, Silver here with another Halo Master Chief Collection Achievement Guide. This time we're doing Part 13, the final installment of our Halo 2 LASO run. This is The Great Journey, so start this up. Right off the bat, we're going to turn to our left and we're going to find that there's a Spectre approaching us, so we're going to go up to it and we're going to get the driver to get out of it, and then we're going to noob combo him, but instead of finishing him off with a headshot, we're going to finish him off with a melee to get our shield up to a single overshield, and then we're going to move over here in this direction, and we're going to follow this path. We're going to go past all of the ghosts, all the wraiths. You can see there's a bunch of brutes. We're just going to ram them if they get in our way. We're bigger, so we could just keep on going, and we're going to make our way to the next section. You can actually despawn the next enemies, which I'll show you how to do. It's very easy. There's going to be some brutes on foot, along with a couple of wraiths up against the door we need to actually go through. So we need to go to the left side of the door. We don't want to go through the door. So to do that, we're going to go in between these two trees on the left, along the cliff, and the big rock structure on the right here. So just kind of squeeze in between those two. We could go up to this corner, the back left corner here. I'm getting shot up by this brute shot here. This is always a possibility. My Spectre is in not great shape. It's seen better days, but it's going to get us through here. So a lot of times that brute will be there. Sometimes he won't be there. It's totally random what you experience. So you might have to try it a couple times to survive. But we got through this time. We're going to go all the way back here, and we're going to wrap around this big rock here on my left. So basically just go as far as you can, and then just come back. And then we'll see that all of the brutes on foot and the two wraiths are not there anymore. So we don't have to deal with them at all. Normally you have to kill all those enemies before the doors here in front of us open up, but since we despawned them all, they will just open up now at this point. So easily taking care of those guys. I like to melee this guy for shields as well, and then I'll turn to the right, and there's an overturned crate here with carbine, so I grab that carbine. You start with a plasma pistol and a plasma rifle. I just exchanged those for the carbine and the beam rifle here in that crate. Then we're going to move over in this direction. We could ignore those guys. They're most likely going to be throwing plasma nades. I like to stick at least one of them, though, and then I cloak myself at this point, and we're going to run past these reinforcements that are coming through that door, and we're going to jump up on the left railing here, and then we're going to jump across to this incline on the left side, and you could bounce off that. So jump up and to the left, and then jump as soon as you hit that incline, and then you could kind of bounce over the entire gap there. And then for good measure, you probably want to try to stick one of these guys as well, and then we're going to recloak ourselves as soon as we can. There's a sound effect, obviously, that plays when you are able to cloak again. So once your cloak is recharged, you want to cloak yourself again so you could safely make it into this area. A lot of times you can make it here with a good amount of shield. You can see I have none this time around, but that's okay. I'll show you that you can make it through even without a shield. But for this part, you could easily take these jackals out by positioning yourself in this way. You don't want to move too far to the right or left of this structure in front of me. And you could see that the jackals a lot of the time will just kind of stand there with their heads totally exposed, the top of their head, and you can pick them off with the carbine pretty easily. But you don't want to shoot too much. As soon as you start shooting at a jackal in their general direction and you're missing, that's when they put their shields up, and we'll just keep it up. So you want to stop shooting at them for a little bit and then wait for them to reset, and then they'll kind of put their shield back down. You could try again. So just kind of slowly and methodically place your reticle on their heads and then pull the trigger. Pretty easy that way. One thing you want to watch out for is the jackal beam rifle sniper jackal. That's right, the jackal beam rifle sniper jackal. Say that 5 times fast. I could barely say it once, but anyway, we're going to watch out for him because he likes to pop up and start sniping at us on the other side of the bridge here. And by the time you move up to the position I'm in, he usually pops up onto the structure on the opposite side, and you can see he's not doing that. I'm trying to get him to come out at this point. This is very rare where he does not pop up and start sniping at you. I don't know why he's not doing it. Even after a nade, he's not popping up. So I'm just kind of looking through this glass, waiting for him to do anything so I could take him out. I don't want to move forward until the jackal is done for. So basically, I'm just trying to aggro him as best I can at this point. That's why I was just kind of shooting the beam rifle and the carbine randomly, throwing nades to get him to pop up. But here he is. He popped up finally, and we're able to take him out easily when he's up there just standing on the structure there, because you could see he was not firing at me or anything, and you may be like, why is he getting so lucky? Why is Silver so lucky? And the reason is, it's not luck. It's the fact that I popped out after cloaking myself. So when he pops up and he's available for shooting, just cloak yourself, and then you could pop out yourself, and then you could take your time. You have a few seconds where you can line up your shot and then just pull the trigger. It's super easy. He's not moving, and you are invisible, so he won't shoot you. So you can take him out, and then we'll focus on these buggers. You want to jump up onto this side of the map. You don't want to jump up on the left side because there's a phantom you could see I was showing who pulls up and just hovers there on the left side of the bridge here. So you want to just hang out and slowly take out these buggers. We have beam rifle that we brought from earlier in the mission, and there's also a crate of beam rifle ammo behind us as well. So there's 2 more beam rifles if you run out of this one. What a snipe. You could see, you could barely see these buggers flying around on some of these angles here, but you could get them. you could get them through these little angles. But another reason we're not on the left side is A, to not get shot up, but B, there's an antenna destructible thing over there, like a Covenant piece of equipment. It looks like a radio tower or something, and it's actually destructible, so we could use it for shields later. So I'm going to stay away from that side, not throw any nades over there or anything, because I don't want to accidentally destroy that or get shot at and have it indirectly destroyed by the enemies or anything. But I'm going to cloak myself here. There's still a couple buggers alive, but I'm going to show you that you could just despawn them by running past them. And I say despawn specifically because we're not going to simply run past them. We're going to despawn them. We're going to go up here until we hear the music kick in for the prison section, and then we're just going to double back and go all the way to the beginning of the level, or close to the beginning of the level. And you can see we go back here through the bugger section, and the 2 buggers or so that we left behind have despawned. They are no longer there. And we're going to go and get some shields from this Covenant radio tower type thing. It usually blows up and gives you shield within 3 to 4 smacks. I just smack it 5 times for good measure. Also, I could tell immediately because I had my alarm going off from having no shield at all, so I knew right when I got the shields. And we're going to go over here, and we stuck a couple of the brutes as we went along here because we want to grab a brute shot. We want at least 1 brute shot so we could do a brute shot jump. So on the way back towards the beginning of the mission, just grab a brute shot. You can collect as much ammo as you want. You only need 1 round, though. So we're going to make it back to the Spectre. Then we're going to hop into the Spectre, and we're going to drive it over to a rock, this rock in particular. And we're going to park it so the nose of our Spectre is up against the corner of this rock right here. And then we could get out, and we're going to jump on top of the turret on the back because the turret is a little higher than the front, and we could use this height to get up to the ledge up here on the rock. So crouch jump up to here, and then we're going to look down at the ledge. We want to jump and brute shot and drift to the right so we can get on top of this rock here. You want to make sure you shoot the ledge, not the wall. And then you can see there's kind of a darker spot over here. I like to throw my plasma grenade right about there, and then I jump as it goes off, and I'm able to be propelled up on top of this structure. And this is basically where you get to after the prison section. Right after the prison section, you come to this part. So we actually skipped the prison entirely, and we're going to make these brutes that spawn in a cakewalk of an encounter. But first we need to spawn in the brutes. So we're going to go to that point right about here where I'm looking at, and we're going to back up to this point so we could easily backsmack this brute as he spawns in. That's important because all these brutes in this section do not have any AI. You can see this guy is not doing anything. They are offering no resistance. But that first brute that we killed in this section, he actually does shoot at you. So fortunately, he's very close to you, so you could spawn him in and backsmack him. And then the other 3 brutes in this area do nothing. So we're going to skip the cutscene, and you immediately want to go back to the prison section that we skipped. So this will get the Wraith drivers to deload, which will save you a ton of time. So immediately after skipping the cutscene, go through these doors. You'll hit a load zone that will despawn the Wraith drivers, and you actually can't even get back to the prison section anymore because this door is normally locked to start the prison section, and then you fight a bunch of enemies in there, and then it unlocks. But since we never unlocked it, it remains locked even now. So that's okay. I like to just go all the way to that section or to that door that didn't open up just for good measure. You don't have to go all the way there to hit the load zone, but I like to do that just to be sure. Then we're going to grab a beam rifle out of this crate here. So I have a beam rifle and a carbine. You don't really need those 2 items at all. I just like to have those 2, and I'm going to grab this Banshee, and I don't even need this Banshee at all either. Grabbing a bunch of stuff that I don't need. So I'm going to just go to my Spectre here. That's all I needed the Banshee for, was to fly to my Spectre. You could really just walk over here and drop down. But we're going to take the Spectre to the end. So we're going to drive over here. Don't get stepped on by the Scarab. He will crush you. He's pretty heavy, a lot bigger than us. We may be able to toss around ghosts like in the beginning of the level, but the Scarab could toss around us, so steer clear of him. But you can see we just passed an empty Wraith. That is because we despawned his driver by going back to the prison section right after the cutscene. But you can see I was going up the left side of the canyon, and then I cut in towards the right at that point. I always like to cut in there, even if I'm not getting shot by a Spectre, because Spectres do tend to be on the left side. And you can see there's a Banshee on the right side of the canyon towards the end here. Make a note of that. You probably won't need it. Hopefully you don't need it. But I'm just going to drive off the cliff in the Spectre here at the end of this little canyon run here. So we're going to be able to make it down nice and easily, and we're just going to drive to the left side of the structure ahead of us here. And normally you drive off the cliff and make that landing easily, but I found sometimes if you have super low health and shield that you actually die before you can make it down to the bottom. So I think your fall timer is actually shorter if you have super low shield and health. So if that happens to you, you find you're jumping off that cliff and you are dying constantly, you may need to drive your Spectre up to the cliff side, knock it over the cliff, and then go back to the Banshee to fly down to your Spectre so you could continue on. But hopefully you don't even have to deal with that. Your shield and health are in good status. Either way, we're going to drive to this rock. It is the rock that the left front strut of the library is resting on, and then we could just hold the jump button to raise the nose of our Spectre to make it up a little easier. We're going to drive along this path, and then we're going to get up onto the structure, but just follow where I'm going at this point. It could get a little confusing. You could get a little lost the first time you're doing this, being outside of the map. There's no clear path or anything, so you might have to refer back to the video a few times, but we're going to go to this area. get up onto the structure, and we're going to go up here, and we want to give ourselves a little bit of a boost so we land kind of on the other side, or towards the middle at least, of this platform up top here, because I'm going to get out and shoot at the other side where we just came from. If you actually land more towards that side, if you don't get enough air and clear enough of the platform, you'll actually get stuck. I'll show you here in a different run. You'll actually kind of get stuck here, kind of like a fly strip. You're a fly, you happen to land on this thing that looks totally fine, and then you try to move around, and it's just not working. It doesn't make any sense. Why does the Spectre get stuck in the geometry here? I don't know. It doesn't happen on the other side, though, so just make sure that you have enough speed so you can kind of clear a little bit of space, a little bit of distance, so you don't get stuck there where I did. But worst case, if you do get stuck, just revert to your last checkpoint or save and quit and then resume. But once we do make it past that fly trap part, we're going to go down this structure. It's pretty much the exact same structure that we came up. It's just the other side, and we're going down it now. And you can see I slowly slid off the side, and then I kind of rotated as I fell down, and that helps control your descent a little bit. And then you want to look down at that ring below that's kind of going around the structure and find that Forerunner glyph. So I'm lined up with that glyph now, and I'm going to go down here and just kind of control my descent, go slowly, and at this point I'm going to boost across the gap there and land on the Forerunner glyph. Again, you want to raise the nose of your Spectre by holding down the jump button. It might be different on PC, it depends how your buttons are mapped. And while we're waiting for Johnson, I'm going to show you the points on the Spectre that I'm going to be looking for when we descend and do this next trick. So you can see this pointed section. It's kind of near the glyph on the side of the Spectre. Depends on how beat up your Spectre is. Parts of the glyph are not even showing, but you can see the sharp points kind of on the side of the Spectre here, towards the front, on the side of the Spectre. So right there where the glyphs are, they're kind of parallel to your shoulders, I guess, as you're sitting in the Spectre. You want to basically take that as a point of reference. So we could see Johnson is now destroying the doorway, so that will get the next section to load in. You'll know you can proceed when it says Delusions and Grandeur down below on the bottom right side of your screen, so we could see that came in. Now we're going to go back to that glyph, and we're going to slowly descend down. Even if you don't press forward at all, your Spectre will slowly go down. You want to hold back. You want to start backing up as soon as those 2 points on the sides that we talked about start going over the edge. At that point, you can no longer stop your fall, but you can slow it down enough where the trick will work here. And you're probably wondering what that trick was. It's basically getting the Spectre into the playable area, into the last part of this mission. We skipped a little bit of combat, actually, by doing that, but also, more importantly, we got the Spectre into this final area, and you're going to see why this is so important very shortly. We're going to get into the driver's seat of the Spectre, and then Sergeant Johnson will want to hop in. He'll get into the turret, which we will allow him to do. Sometimes you might have some elite reinforcements who might want to join the party. We're going to say, you're not on the list, get out of here, and this is an all-Johnson party. Very exclusive. So we're going to stand here, and we're going to shimmy and shake left and right. You don't need to do that. I just like to do it because he looks hilarious on the backside, shaking his booty. It gets a little more PG-13 once he looks to the side when I'm doing this, because it turns from a booty shake to a hip thrust, so it gets a lot more graphic. But all I'm really doing is waiting for more Johnsons to spawn in. That is correct. This is a way to get up to 4 Johnsons in the final battle here with you, which will help you out immensely. Basically, for this section, the game needs a Johnson to be on foot to take down the shield of Tartarus, and if there's no Johnson on foot with the beam rifle, the game is like, oh, I guess I need to spawn one in. I guess I forgot earlier. So it spawns an additional Johnson in. We throw him in the Spectre. We could get up to 3 Johnsons in the Spectre, and then when the 4th one comes in, unfortunately, we have nowhere else to put him, so that's as much as we could get into the game right now, at least. Maybe we'll get some more Johnsons in later. Maybe if you bring in multiple Spectres, I don't know, I've never tried it, but in theory it should work. But now we have all 4 Johnsons. We're going to drive the 3 in our Spectre towards the battle with Tartarus up ahead here. Watch out for that rotating piece. I decided to just gun it, although it was probably not the smartest idea. It worked out. But you want to abandon the Spectre and then blow it up as soon as possible, and that will get the 3 Johnsons out on foot where they're going to shoot their beam rifles and help take down Tartarus. And additionally, if they're in the Spectre, they could be kind of flung off the map. For whatever reason, all these Johnsons are solid as a rock. When they get grenaded or when they get smashed by a gravity hammer, those gravity effects do not affect Johnson. Johnson is a rigid boy. Imagine being surrounded and slapped around by 4 Johnsons. Probably not the great journey that Tartarus was expecting. But once Tartarus starts taking damage, there's some brute reinforcements that join the party. You can see they're trotting over here. So don't get caught up in the spectacle of the 4 Johnsons versus 1 Tartarus party. There's actually some brute reinforcements that come and crash this thing as well. So watch out for those guys. It's easy to kind of just watch this whole thing unfold, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, you've been stuck from across the map, because these brutes that come in have a tremendous arm. They're all basically Hall of Fame quarterbacks. They will stick you if you're standing still, but I'm going to jump up here, and you could actually let these 4 Johnsons just totally do everything, and you can see you could jump back up to the original spot you came from by using these rotating platforms. And you can go all the way back deep into the tunnel, and then you are totally not at risk of anything happening, no nades or anything like that. But you could actually chip in from afar if you would like. You could help take out those random brutes. You could help shoot at Tartarus once his shield pops. And I'm going to skip ahead, though, because it takes a while. Sometimes it's pretty quick. Sometimes it takes a while. But I'm going to go up here. And at the top of the map here, on this third level of this giant birthday cake of doom, there is a crate of brute plasma rifles. I don't know if these are super effective against Tartarus, or I just happen to always pick them up when Tartarus is about to die. So when I do start shooting him with these things, he just goes down super fast. But we got one burst of plasma rifle rounds into him there. We got some more quarterbacks coming in, so we're going to back up so they could just come into the middle area, and then we won't be at risk. But I'm going to lay into him again with another round of brute plasma rifle, and he went down super quick with these things. I don't know if it's because I always use the brute plasma rifles, again, like I mentioned, towards the end as a last resort because I'm running out of ammo for everything else, or if it's because these are actually super effective. Maybe something to try out for yourself. Give it a whirl. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter. This part is super easy now with the 4 Johnson strategy. All you have to do really is get the Johnsons into the battle, and then you could sit back, relax, don't get stuck by the quarterbacks, don't get too close to Tartarus and take a stray hammer to the face, and of course, don't fall off the map, and you will find that you have beaten Halo 2 LASO, thought to be the most difficult of the LASOs, so congratulations if you've made it this far. You can make it the rest of the way with Halo 3, 4, and ODST. They are considerably easier than CE and 2 was, and I'll be revising those guides as well. So obviously I put out the Reach LASOs, I put out the CE and Halo 2 LASO revisions, vastly improved over my old guides from 5 years ago. So I'll be doing the same thing with Halo 3, Halo 4, and ODST. Those will be getting revisions as well as they come out on PC later this year. So stick around for those. I'll be coming out with more videos in general on top of the LASOs. And of course, stick around for Infinite at the end of the year. There will be tons of content coming your way, so I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found that video helpful, be sure to click on the scorpion icon to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. You can also check out some related guides by clicking on the videos on screen, and you can find links in the description for other social media links of mine. Stay tuned for more Halo guides, and I'll see you in the next one.